Dick Pavetta, Eddie F. Rush, and Joe DeRosa are the officials. Dick Pavetta refereeing his 23rd game in the NBA Finals. 30 years in the league, over 2,000 games to put it up. And the tip is going to be won by Detroit, but Manu Ginobili comes in and fouls Chauncey Billups right off the bat.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate, mainly because both players were going for it, and Ginobili got his arm caught in. Solid call.
2 seconds into the game. Already a foul on San Antonio with Prince now. Giving it to Hamilton off that curl, and not only a block by Bowen, he just takes it out of the air.
Now, that's one of the very few that you have seen in 3 games plus less than a minute.
And then Duncan scores to give San Antonio the first points of the game.
Now, when Detroit has their action together in the half-court game, 4 players in Game 3 averaging double figures in the starting unit. And then, as we know, Billups and Hamilton excel with the 20-plus points.
Rasheed Wallace working on Duncan, over him. Ginobili clears it.
Main thing tonight, both ends of the floor. Transition defense is going to be a major key.
Manu Ginobili. And again, he contends, Popovich contends, no problem with the leg after the other night. Underneath to Mohammed for the stuff, 4-0.
If you switch and then you trap, you know that someone is loose. That was excellent ball movement. The Spurs made 2 extra passes to get that layup.
Last night, Detroit got off to the red-hot start. Tonight, it's San Antonio leading 4-0 at the outset. Billups, way short, barely grazed the rim.
So you'd like to see more movement, Al. Yeah, don't settle right away. Set a tempo. Get the defense moving from side to side of the floor and stay within your sets.
And then Parker throws it away, trying to bounce it in underneath. Wallace gives it to Prince. Billups guarded by Ginobili. Here's the big matchup, as always. Hamilton and Bowen, and Rip gets it back underneath and can't score from the lane.
Oh, they had 2 good looks there. Excellent fakes. And then finally to the release of the shot. And the release of the shot was in traffic.
Pistons have started the game 0 for their first 4. Then Ginobili has it knocked away. Billups got a hand in. And Hamilton to make it 4-2.
The success for Detroit in Game 3. Think about 12 steals, the 10 blocks, and then the forced 18 turnovers. The transition game was there for the full 48 minutes.
Defense, the keynote early, and again, you're looking at 2 teams that finished first and second in the league in defense. Fewest points allowed and second fewest points allowed. Billups to Ben Wallace.
I like that. See, that's pushing. They had a 4-on-3 situation, and they created the alley to get the layup.
3 minutes into the game. Duncan guarded by Ben Wallace. Wallace, the defensive player of the year, and he knocks it away again. And then he gets it back from Billups. And Detroit has the lead.
When you're Greg Popovich, this is your concern. Take care of the basketball. That is the cry. That is their first rule. Take care of the basketball. And they're shaky already in the first quarter.
Ginobili, 3-pointer, and San Antonio is up 7-6.
Now this is a young man who has been on fire with the threes. He's now 8 for 13 in the series. He's shooting over 60% in 3-point baskets.
Here's Prince. Ginobili is on him. Shot clock is at 5. Tayshaun Prince. And then Duncan has it knocked out of his hands by Prince. San Antonio with the ball.
Now this has been an excellent matchup for San Antonio. Ginobili on Prince. Prince now, an excellent 3-point shooter, has not had a 3-point make in the series.
Parker had 21 the other night. To Ginobili from outside the arc. He misses his second 3-point attempt. Hamilton comes away with the ball for Detroit. And goes all the way. And then Rasheed Wallace is there for the follow.
Now, Greg Popovich has really got to be concerned. I do not like, if I am the coaching staff of San Antonio, they are getting too many easy baskets in the flow of transition.
And this against the #1 defensive team in the league, and it's another away again by Wallace.
Yeah, Duncan is really upset. He thought he got fouled.
And Phillips goes all the way.
Now, right now, you do not want a technical foul. Popovich is really, here it is,
right
there.
And he just got one. Eddie T. Rush tees him up. T for technical.
Now, the turnovers naturally are coming off of post play and dribbling in the paint. Now, when you're on the road, what you're looking for, you're hoping for a call. But they have been consistent allowing the contact. And then at the other end, excellent attacking the rim by Detroit, and then naturally the follow-up. The trailer has been very important for Detroit, following up in their fast break game.
Phillips with a technical. Eddie's real initial is F, but it might as well be T in Popovich's mind right now.
See, once again, Ben Wallace steps in here. That is his third deflection, and we have only played less than 5 minutes. He is helping out all over. It's not a true double team, but he's reaching in from afar.
Parker up the high screen set by Duncan. And Mohammed tries to tap it back out, but Phillips comes away with it.
Now Wallace is right up on the pressure in that shot.
Wallace is able to keep it alive. He bounced it off Parker. And Detroit has the ball. Hamilton regains the handle. Rasheed Wallace from outside. And Antonio down by 4. 6.5 to go opening period. And they turn it over again.
Now, this time it is excellent defensive rotation and the intimidation of the shot clock.
5 turnovers in less than 4 minutes for San Antonio. Four-point lead. Phillips with it. Rasheed Wallace.
Now you got
on the mismatch. Sure.
Yes, indeed.
Parker on Wallace. And you still have Parker on Rasheed Wallace. And then Ori, who's come into the game, comes in to help, and it's swatted back out. Detroit keeps it. And Dick Bavetta blows the whistle here and consults with Joe DeRosa. The ball may not have hit the rim. I think there was a question as to whether the 24-second clock should have been restarted. There is Ginobili. He gets an early rest. You've got Udrih in the game, the backup point guard, playing outside with Parker. And now you've got a timeout.
Well, during that timeout, Greg Popovich really laid into his team. He said, look, I will take care of the refs. If you get a foul call, I don't care. Nobody in the free world cares. Play hard out there. And then he got right up to Tony Parker and said, wake up. You understand that? Those are the defending champions out there, guys.
I love it in the free world. The delineation right there. And San Antonio with great defense there, because that's a 24-second violation. For those of you who only casually watch basketball, when Popovich says, I'll take care of the refs, remember, he already picked up a technical foul. If you get a second technical foul, you are done. Player, coach, or whatever. So he does not have a technical foul to give. I'm laughing to myself even because he says the free world as Duncan goes in and misses. And Duncan gets it back and scores. And Popovich at the Air Force Academy majored in Soviet studies.
That's right. Right here now, I like the strategy. Get Tim Duncan going. He has 2 turnovers out of the post area, but you've still got to get him rolling, and he's going to shoot a high percentage for you if he gets good looks from that position.
Wallace is trying to get a goaltending call, and he's going to get one as they come in and have a small discussion amongst the officials, and Ori says to the vet, come on. So it's 13-9, that counts, and he's fouled, and Prince will go to the line.
I say he hit the rim. He got the rim, and that's interference, while the ball has an opportunity to go through the basket.
And then Prince with a 3-point play, and the Pistons on top 14-9.
In the first 7 minutes of play, it's kind of surprising how easy Detroit is getting to the rim and taking it off the dribble, going strong.
That was another near steal, but Duncan gets it back and then goes to the basket and gets fouled.
Now, Timmy Duncan will challenge Wallace all night long. Now, Wallace had 5 blocks in the first half in game 3. Whichever Wallace picks him up, they take turns. You can see Duncan is going right at them. Now, it was embarrassing to have 2 turnovers in your first 2 moves. But right now, Timmy is saying, hey, I'm going to go one way, come back, play, and feel the defense on my back, and I'll go in the opposite direction.
Foul on Rashid. That's Detroit's first foul of the game. Duncan's been the little girl with the curl from the free throw line in the playoffs. Either he's been fantastic or he's been terrible.
Well, coming into this game, he's averaging in this series 6 attempts. In the 3 previous rounds, he was getting to the line 9 times.
He had a 15 for 15 night against Phoenix and followed it up with 3 for 12. Here he makes 1 out of 2, and it's 14-10 Detroit.
This is new. I trap Phillips a little bit, get him to give up the ball. You say, what's the big deal? Precious seconds are going off the clock in the half-court game.
Or he swats it away. 10 seconds on the 24-second clock.
You always try to eliminate with your defense. You're trying to get precious seconds to go, whether it's backcourt pressure, half-court pressure, a little trap here or there.
Batted away from Hamilton. You've got 6 on the clock. Phillips posting and has that knocked away, and there are only 4 seconds now when Detroit inbounds.
Now Detroit knows anytime that Phillips takes Parker in the post, it will force a double team because Phillips can just muscle him and take him strong to the rim.
Ben Wallace shoots and scores.
Hey! Okay, Ben. Ben is doing it all now. Forget just rebounding, shot blocking, and stealing the ball, deflections. I'm going to show you my perimeter game.
A very ugly possession for Detroit, but after it's knocked away out of bounds twice, Wallace scores. Now another steal. That's 6 of them for the Pistons. Prince. Duncan comes out to contest the shot. Parker comes away with it.
Yeah, good cover by Timmy. He got a good piece of that shot.
Antonio McDyess ready to come in for Detroit. Mohammed will come back in. Here's Barry's first shot of the game missing. Wallace off the glass.
Now, in the early going in this quarter, Detroit doing a very solid job off the dribble out on the perimeter. They're cutting it off and forcing the kick-out pass.
Ben Wallace. Again, shot clock all the way down to 3, and Phillips gets it away. So on back-to-back possession with the clock about to expire, they get a couple of baskets, and Popovich has to take a timeout. The great Piston, and they've been doing this in every game during a break, bringing the guys out. It's been terrific.
A little bit of a highlight film out there, just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Some rebounding, some shot blocking, some dazzling passes, highlight films with elevation, and then with Drexler and Wilkins, I mean, you talk about 5 guys.
Fabulous. 18-10 Detroit. Ginobili back to Barry. From outside, Ginobili well off the mark, but Ori is there for the offensive board. From the lane, that won't go. And then Mohammed hits it underneath to stuff it in and make it 18-12. Hunter and McDyess are in for the Pistons.
Hey, with the small group in here right now, with Hunter and Phillips in the backcourt and Hamilton up front, they are small. So everyone must pack it in and rebound, Al, or you're going to have what you just had there, volleyball until you score at the San Antonio end.
Duncan on the bench right now. The foul here is on Ori, and here's Stewart.
Al, you know, coaches are creatures of habit. Forget that, not even creatures of habit. Larry Brown admitted to us that he's one of the most superstitious guys in the world. He says before every game he does everything the same way, even down to brushing his teeth. But he was watching TV the other day, watching one of the old Seinfeld episodes, when Costanza changed everything he was doing and his life turned great, got the job with the Yankees, working for Steinbrenner. So before Game 3, Larry did everything different. No matter what he had usually done, he changed it up, and he said the game turned out great for them. So we asked him, well, what did you do before this game? And that whole superstition thing came back. He said, I ain't giving it up. Al?
The power of suggestion.
Absolutely.
That foul was on McDyess, who just came into the game. McDyess, great off the bench the other night. He's been a terrific sixth man for Larry Brown all year long. Horry, Duncan, Hamilton with the rebound. Under 2 minutes to play. Opening period in the fourth game. Chauncey Billups lays it off with a wide open McDyess.
They can get that shot anytime tonight. Mainly because Duncan is trying to help on Billups. It's opening up the screener on that midpoint on the baseline. Now that is McDyess' high percentage area.
Final 2 minutes, each team with a foul to give here. Early foul-free first quarter. Near steal. Stolen back and then out of bounds, and it is off San Antonio, off Barry.
Yeah, Brent Barry had a little trouble there. He lost control of the ball, and the ball looked like it was a hot potato.
That's 7 turnovers now in less than 11 minutes for the Spurs.
Pistons basketball.
Phillips. Udrich goes down. No harm, no foul. And San Antonio comes back the other way. Barry waiting for the Udrich. The rookie from Slovenia kicks it back outside. Now Barry had that three contested. They work it around. Good ball movement, and it pays off with a three-pointer by the rookie from the corner.
Well, he's an excellent three-point shooter. All throughout the playoffs, he's done a terrific job. And he'll take the shot. He's not going to hesitate. One thing you're not going to get away with veteran officials is maybe that was a flop on the last possession down here at the Detroit end. You do not want to give up uncontested shots.
McDyess turnaround over Duncan.
Well, he'll do that. Well, one thing you've got to do, you know that McDyess doesn't have the quickness because of the leg after the operation, the three operations. You've got to force him to play on the dribble.
And Udrich, the backup point guard, puts that in to make it 20-17.
He's not bashful now. He's going to catch and shoot. What I like about him is he doesn't force anything. He plays under control. He has a nice handle with the ball, and he does an excellent job as a backup point guard for San Antonio.
Minuscule difference between the shot and game clock. They can take it down almost to the end, and the foul here is committed outside by Udrich, and that was the foul to give. So you can foul the opponent in this situation, and the guy doesn't go to the free throw line unless it's a two-shot foul.
Yeah, they're coming right now with Prince and Rasheed Wallace to increase their three-point shooting game. You know that Billups is probably going to make this catch. If he makes the catch, then he's going to drive hard to the basket. You know, when you have 6.4 on the clock, that's a long time.
And the shot clock is off, so Hunter
they're in
inbounds.
zone.
Hunter now kicks it back out. Rasheed Wallace at the hole for a three-pointer with 1 second to play in the quarter.
LeBron James, what an outstanding year this year. I know myself, I voted him first team All-NBA. I put him as a true small forward, and I thought that he had that type of a season.
Detroit up by 6 as we start the second quarter.
Now you got to watch out for the traps now. And right now, you're already down inside of 10 seconds.
That wasn't a violation in backcourt because it had been tagged back there by Detroit. Now we've got Bavetta calling a foul.
With Udrich in the backcourt and Lindsey Hunter in the game, you're going to see pressure at 94 feet and then also the quick traps at half court.
Foul was on Lindsey Hunter. That's knocked away by Hunter. Two of the most engaging smile. He's looking at Bavetta. You know, give me the call. It's that angelic look. You almost want to give it to him. Six on the clock. Ginobili to launch. Rasheed off the glass.
Now Detroit's got to remember how they got the 8-2 advantage on fast breaks. they were pushing Hurley and looking at that 4-on-3 break. You just cannot settle now and say we're going to play half-court basketball.
And McDyess, Detroit with its biggest lead, 4 points for Antonio McDyess, 25-17 Pistons.
Udrich must be careful now, and you have to have the outlet once the trap comes. Once the trap, there it is.
He wasn't careful. Lindsey Hunter bounces it back to Wallace, and they throw the ball around and still score.
Yep.
A lot of times he'll do that once too often, but this time it's Prince putting it in with Parker on the bench. Timeout again for San Antonio.
When the ball handler gets trapped, you cannot run away from the pass. Now just keep an eye on this. Udrich and Parker already between them have 4 turnovers. So you know you're going to be digging, but you're going to pick and choose on your traps.
Udrich committed the turnover after 3 the other night in 7 minutes, and here he tries one from the corner that doesn't go. Prince.
Nice.
She passed up a 3. Hunter after the fake with a long 2.
I'm glad. See, that's a veteran player. He could have forced that catch and shoot the ball, but Lindsey Hunter gave the pump fake, shed the defender, and then regrouped.
Blocking foul.
See, that's what we were worried about the injury to Ginobili. Does Ginobili have the quickness tonight, the penetration ability, and then more important, the lift to finish? Now, this is one of the very few times in this game, we are already in the second quarter, that he has attempted to attack the rim.
Second foul on Hunter. Called in the quarter. Duncan loses it. Or he gets it back to keep it alive. Only 5 on the shot clock, though. Udrich. All the way at the buzzer, doesn't go.
Nice.
Quickly down the floor. Hamilton behind his back, and Rasheed will slow it up, and Hunter will set it up.
The reason why you keep pushing early, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, is because you want to put fatigue, and then when you get into that last 10 minutes in that fourth quarter, that the break will open up for you, and we have seen that throughout the series.
Wallace at the end of the 24-second clock. Spurs working the edge. Stolen again, this time given up by Ginobili. McDyess lays it off of Lindsey. Hunter scores.
Strong finish. Strong finish by Lindsey Hunter. And I'm happy for the young man because he's been struggling with his shot, and he's now come in here and hit 2 quick ones.
Hunter, a guy spent the first part of his career in Detroit and moved around. Was a Laker 2 years ago, won a title, came back here last year, and again San Antonio to give it up.
That was a good call.
Foul
Good
on
call.
Bowen.
Yep. Excellent defense by Hamilton. Now, once again, they're right there with the deflections. The deflections give you the steals. And what I like about Detroit tonight is their heads are in the defense. Their rotations on the baseline have been sensational, and then they're working with their hands. They're knocking a lot of balls loose, and then they are quick to the ball.
Devin Brown and Nazir Mohammed come in for San Antonio. That offensive foul on Bowen as McDyess puts this one in and gets fouled and will go to the line. And Detroit with a 16 going on 17-point lead here.
Well, we said earlier, they're getting this shot easy on this move. Once the screener sets the screen, rotate down there to that midpoint area. When that dribbler is coming off, it's stretching the San Antonio defense. McDyess is opening up, as well as Rasheed Wallace before him.
So they've doubled the San Antonio total. When Bowen committed that offensive foul, that is a turnover. San Antonio has turned the ball over 10 times in the first 15 and a half minutes. In and out. But the offensive rebound underneath.
Another block.
Mohammed has it blocked. Prince spots up. Duncan off the rim, and Parker back for the Spurs. Nothing in this quarter, 11-0 in the quarter, Detroit. And the three-pointer there by Devin Brown. So they bring Brown in to try to spark him a little bit, and he hits one from outside the arc.
Well, before the herniated disc, and he was injured here during the regular season. Had a double-figure game for them the next night in New York. Became seriously injured, had the operation. This young guy was playing great basketball for them. He came into that Detroit game, 7 games of 15-plus points. And he's a fine young man. He's had a terrific year for them.
It was college ball in San Antonio. McDyess has that contested, and Duncan gets it out to Parker.
Now, right now, San Antonio, nothing easy. Nothing is coming easy for them. Nothing on the fast break, and then in their half-court offense, they're struggling to get good looks.
And the foul is Hamilton reaches in. When you look at San Antonio right now, Ginobili has 3 points. Parker has none in the backcourt. Ginobili right now is on the bench. And the Pistons are on top by 14 with 7.5 to go in the second quarter. Ben Wallace in, McDyess staying in with Prince and Phillips and Hamilton. Parker, Devin Brown, Duncan, Mohammed, and Bowen out there for San Antonio. And Duncan keeps it alive to Brown, and then Duncan goes in with a left hand to put it in.
Good second effort there by Devin Brown, and a beautiful handoff to Duncan.
5 straight points for the Spurs. A 12-point lead.
They're bringing Prince on the baseline.
Almost stolen. Bowen got a hand in. But Phillips gets it back. 9 on the clock. Oh, he goes, doesn't get the roll. The foul.
Love the extension there. I didn't think that he had it in him. He just covered quite a bit of ground here.
Foul on Bowen. Number 2.
Mainly because he's dribbling low. Watch it. He's coming in here with the low dribble, and then the extension. Almost got it to fall.
Shooting 2, number 1, Johnson.
Nice extension of extension. I like that. You're very good. Got a flair for the dramatic. Fiddles for 2. Saturday, WNBA. Phoenix against the New York Liberty. Diana Taurasi, Becky Hammond in action. Saturday right here on the American Broadcasting Company. 35-22 Detroit. Now the lead is 14. Biggest lead with 17 points. A couple of minutes to go for the Pistons. Hamilton guarding Bowen like Bowen guards Hamilton.
Yeah, they are not going to allow you to grab a guy on a baseline cut. And they've been consistent tonight on screening down on baseline defenders, and also with defenders running without the ball. And then they're not going to allow that. See, they're not going to allow the hit or the grab.
That's the second foul on Hamilton. And the 4th team foul. You know, one thing about that, UB, is Duncan gets fouled. You know that you've got Bowen and Hamilton, and you understand Bowen, of course, the great defender guarding Hamilton that closely. But does Hamilton necessarily have to guard Bowen that closely on the other end?
Well, that's his nature. You know, what he's saying is, I do not want to get him to take any 3-point shots. And that's where he has been hurting us in the series. He's not getting any 2-point baskets, but he's going to try to chase them off the threes and force them to run on the baseline.
Well, that close guarding of a guy who's really not an offensive threat, though he did score a lot the other night, is the second foul. There's Rasheed Wallace. Duncan at the line. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, yesterday, Bruce Bowen told me you have to have a bunker mentality, and whatever's going on, we're not going to allow it to affect us. If it's a bad call, if it's a turnover, we're not going to hang our heads, but at some point in Game 3, it happened. We can't afford to let it happen. We can make adjustments. We need to know that. That's a mindset. You may not have control of everything, but you have to control your composure. That may be the Spurs' biggest challenge right now, Al.
Okay, Michelle, it's a 12-point game, 36-24 Detroit.
Big thing right now, the Spurs have got to show you some defense.
Wallace on the follow, doesn't go. Here's Duncan.
And when you're saying defense, we mean defense, getting them to take one shot and then rebounding that basketball. Hold them to one shot so you can get out into your open floor yourself.
Now you've got McDyess reaching over. That's the international broadcast section up there. And the other night we heard what it sounded like going back to France. You've got the guys from Italy here broadcasting the game. Manu Ginobili is from Argentina, but he played in Italy for 4 years. Federico Buffa and Flavio Tranquillo sending the game back to Rome and environs. Let's listen in.
È ovviamente nel cuore di tutti gli italiani e come detto, do you believe in miracles? La grande frase di Al Michaels. In questo momento quasi Federico si potrebbe attagliare ai San Antonio Spurs. Non hanno bisogno di un miracolo, ma quasi.
Sì, peraltro hanno replicato con un parziale in questo momento aperto di 8-2 al 34-17 a cui erano costretti a metà del secondo quarto. Io credo che il Pistons abbia perso una più che discreta occasione.
Yubi, I copied, the mistake I made is I only copyrighted that in English, for crying out loud. I can't believe these guys. When I heard that, I'm thinking, wait a second here. Everybody steals from everybody else, but it's the second quarter. You can't bring the miracle line out here. Anyway, Yubi and I are doing the game in wrap tonight. Here's Ben Wallace going to the glass. And Bavetta calls the foul underneath on Tayshaun Prince. And every foul here will be a shooting foul. They're over the limit. That's Tayshaun's first, and Ori comes back into the game.
You're coaching the San Antonio Spurs. You're looking at a terrible half in regards to execution. You're down 11 shots. Detroit, an extra 11 shots. Happening, why? Because of the steals, the turnovers, the lack of taking care of the defensive board. And you look up here right now, and if he could just make one, you're only going to be down 9. So you know that you can regroup here. You just have to pull your game together, and let's get better half-court execution so you keep Detroit out of the fast break game. 12-2 in fast break points.
Devin Brown cashing from the line, 9-point lead right now. The biggest lead was 17 when Detroit led 34-17. 5.5 left in the opening half.
Yeah, they're trying to post Prince first on Devin Brown down inside. That did not work.
Rasheed for 3. Like the end of the first quarter.
Well, Rasheed's got his three-point game going. He's 2 for 2 right now.
Pistons by a dozen. Brown drives on Hamilton. And then Wallace with the emphatic rebound.
Yeah, I like this. They should wear this out right here. Parker on Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Anytime you get that and you see that, and Rip is down inside on that post area, let him fade out to the 10. He can just shoot up over the top of Parker.
Ori posting Wallace and going in. Wallace contests the shot. Rebound comes off. Hamilton. Phillips driving inside. And as Muhammad picks him up, the foul committed.
Now, they have changed their defensive coverage on the side pick and roll. Instead of allowing the player to come into the middle of the floor, they're channeling Phillips now to the baseline. So as soon as Phillips gets down on that wing area, the defender is playing him on the top side. So they're going to send him to the baseline and force him into an area that he might not be familiar with, especially in this series. Now what that does, that forces the screener to step outside the three-point line and makes it a deeper shot for the screen man. When you foul this guy, though, it's almost death. I mean, we're talking about a guy that had a sensational season, 89%. In the playoffs, he's right at 88. And then we told you at the top of the show, and anytime that a guy goes to the line in the fourth quarter and goes 41 for 45 at playoff time, he's your guy.
And he's 5 for 5 in the game tonight. And Brown gets muscled. The basket counts in the continuation, and he will go to the line.
Yeah, coaches love players like this. Devin Brown was not drafted. All right, this is a young guy that made the San Antonio Spurs. and he has worked extremely hard. See, now at that position, you have Bowen and you have Devin Brown. Two guys undrafted, and both guys give you what you want. One out defensively, and the other guy can score points.
Phillips drives and then dishes back outside to Prince. Shoveled inside to Hamilton. Back out for a free three. Phillips missing. Duncan gets it out to Brown.
Yeah, good kick out here.
Ginobili. Ginobili with 3 points. Parker with none. And Ori misses from outside. And Wallace with the rebound.
Yeah, I love the pressure of Detroit. They're out there. They are really challenging the three-point shooters tonight.
Larry Brown takes a timeout here. Later tonight, Jimmy Kimmel has Evander Holyfield as his guest. Holyfield now on the show Dancing with Stars, so Evander Holyfield with Jimmy tonight on ABC. You know, Yubi, in the first 3 games in this series, the home team has won in each of them, and that's in contrast to what took place in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, when the home team won only 55% of the game. But home cooking makes the difference here, and Detroit is at home. And Prince with the stuff to make it a 16-point game.
I've been waiting for them to isolate Prince in that area. Now, he needed that basket, but what it shows is can Ginobili prevent him from going to the basket and dunking strong?
And Bowen gets fouled. Back to the Prince dunk.
Now this is a comfort area for Prince. He loves catching the ball and facing up. Excellent baseline move, and then attack Ginobili. Ginobili has got to prove to you that he can stop you off the dribble.
Bowen at the line. You talked about the play of the outside guys, the point guards for Detroit. Billups and Hunter, 10 assists. San Antonio, none.
Yeah, well,
from that spot.
Yeah, they just cannot get into the middle off the dribble in the first half so far. All right, give Detroit a ton of credit. Their rotations on the baseline and in the paint have been excellent. They're forcing the kick-out pass, but tonight they are closing down that three-point shooter. The three-point shooters are having a tough time getting a good look at the basket.
Bowen from the line, 45-31. Detroit up by 14. It's Bowen's first point of the game, points of the game, as it turns out. Parker is still with nothing.
I like this. See, they went right in. Now, unfortunately, he got a bad pass to Prince, and he just could not, convert that into a strong move.
Oh, Ben Wallace, that would have been a resounding dunk.
How about that hustle? How about that hustle? Not only does he get to the glass for almost the dunk, but then he chases the ball down. Now, keep an eye to the left of the screen. Here he is over the top, and then he chases this ball down and almost saves it.
Well, Stuart Scott talking about it the other night. We got a talking to from his wife. Became a big local story over the last couple of days. When Mama talks, you'll listen. 45-31 Detroit.
Now he just bodied up right on Duncan. He bodied up and he forced Timmy to throw that jump shot on a fade.
Prince.
Prince is never in a hurry. He's always under control with the ball, the majority of time. And then if you lay off of him, if you're a big guy and switch like Duncan did, he's going to shoot that jumper.
Duncan backs Wallace down, and the turnaround is short. Phillips is there.
Look out now. They have an advantage.
Wallace again missing the dunk, but the foul here on Nesterovich, who's seeing his first action of the game.
Now, see, Duncan was late coming back down the floor. That gave Detroit, once again, an advantage, 5-on-4. And you just got to appreciate what they're doing here. They are forcing the action on every missed shot, on every steal or block. They continue to keep the pressure on San Antonio. The reason why we bring this out is that San Antonio, if they're not the best transition defensive team in the league, they're right in the same sentence with whoever else you want to put in there. So this is a major disappointment if you're on the coaching staff. You're giving up too many points in the open floor.
Wallace at the line for two. Here's Stewart.
Al, before the game, I said to Rip Hamilton, I said, you guys know Tim Duncan's not going to play 2 straight bad games. And Rip said, I know, but we got a guy named Ben Wallace. More than any other team I've seen lately, these guys believe in Ben Wallace, and they put all their trust in Ben Wallace. And when I mentioned that to Ben, I said, what's it like to have an entire team on your shoulders? He said it's amazing, and he got philosophical. He said, in an independent society, and oftentimes an independent league, to know that everybody is relying on you is pretty deep. And I said to him, I said, how much pressure is that? And he laughed. He said, it's a lot of pressure. But he says, you do what you got to do, Al.
I love it. Popovich is talking about the free world. Wallace is talking about an independent society. And Parker finally scores. Two-pointer and Tony with his first 2 of the game.
How about Rasheed? How about Ben Wallace right now? In the playoff, has 39 steals. He is way out front of anyone. No one's even close in steals.
And that's why you win the Defensive Player of the Year award multiple times. It gets it back to Arroyo, and that is shoved right back in his face by Tim Duncan. And only 2 seconds are on the shot clock on the inbound here.
Yeah, this is excellent defense by Duncan. He just came right out up over the defender who was in front of Arroyo to get that block.
Billups, as it expires, and Chauncey Billups puts it in. The great boxer Thomas Hitman Hearns, a season ticket holder here, and his ball club playing very well.
You just love it. Under pressure, you know that Billups, if the ball is at full court, he's going to have it and coming up the floor. On the side out of bounds play, the majority of times he is going to make the catch.
Ginobili splits the defense, but then runs into McDyess and still draws the foul on his way to the hoop.
Now, when you're a coaching staff, you love that. Now, if you're a San Antonio fan or a coach, you know that that was a hard foul. They're going in there, and they are not going to allow Ginobili to do what he did in games 1 and 2. Now, they have a little bit of an advantage because we know that Ginobili is not 100% physically fit. And that's why we said at the top, will he have his extension when he goes and lifts to make the drive shots? And that's what makes him so successful, the completion with the acrobatic moves.
He didn't have it the other night. He doesn't have it tonight. McDyess comes out. That's 3 fouls on McDyess. He's the first guy in the game with that many. Darvin Ham comes in to close out the half. 49-35. Got a 5-second differential on the clocks. Arroyo milking the clock. Here's Wallace. Whoa!
I told you.
Well, that's kind of a perfect way for Detroit to end this half when Ben hits from 15 feet. Now Ginobili will drive to the basket, and they're going to call it on Detroit a foul on the Pistons blocking. Of course, Larry Brown looked like an Olympic sprinter on the sideline after that call.
Yes, he did. Now, this is just, this is the old story of whether he is moving or not. He's definitely outside the circle. Now it comes down to your angle, whether or not he was moving. Did he have it? Did he take it? Where in the chest? But you love Ben Wallace's quickness. Larry Brown very upset. And you were right. He skipped about 30 feet down that sideline.
Unbelievable. Larry in great shape.
They still have another, half to go, 24 minutes. I expect to see better execution in the second half by San Antonio, less turnovers, and then can Ginobili and Parker get it going?
Yeah,
because right now, this is a big story.
Right, they've been held in check. Ginobili was the other night. Parker had a decent night, but still they lost the game by 17 points. And now with 1.1, Detroit will try to get a shot away at the end, and Ginobili is there to break up, and that will do it. But a very, very good 24 minutes for the Pistons as they try to square the series. Detroit 51, San Antonio 36 at the half. Let's go to Stewart.
Ben Wallace, you guys had 96 points in game 3. You got 51 at halftime. How are you playing Phoenix Suns-like basketball?
I don't know, man. We got a lot of energy out there. We're able to get in the passing lane, get some steals, and we're getting stopping and rebounding the basketball, lead to transition buckets.
When you guys put a 14-0 run on them, and you guys are grabbing every key defensive rebound, you're doing everything that Coach Brown wants you to do, how do you avoid a letdown or those guys coming back?
You know, that's really scaring me right now. We got it coming real easy. So second half, we're gonna have to stay focused. They're gonna be much more determined to make something happen. So we got to stay focused and run our sets, and you know, not look for the quick hitters, but execute and get some good shots.
Your wife Shonda said your game was yeah the first two. This was not a yeah first half. All right, Ben.
Thank you.
Al. Michelle, this is typical Larry Brown. About 5 minutes ago, in the middle of telling me what he told his team at halftime, which included you still have to make every good shot. And you got to know that San Antonio is making a run. In the middle of all that, in the middle of an NBA Finals game, David Robinson and his kids walk by. So Larry stops talking to me and has a conversation with David Robinson. Even stops and says, hey, how's your wife doing? That's Larry Brown. The game is going on. The game is important, but family is also more important. Family's doing well. His is right now, Al.
Very much so. Good description of Larry, and it's a story very typical of the kind of guy he is. As we start the third quarter, San Antonio with the ball, and Tony Parker to bring it into the front court.
Well, the big pressure here is on execution. Execution, and then the ability of this guy right here. Oh, yes.
Ginobili.
Okay, that's what we've been waiting for. And that is the first time that he's been able to slither in and finish in traffic. They're going to send him to the baseline. That's good strategy.
Hamilton missing everything. Tough defense there, and San Antonio will inbound.
I like the change of philosophy. Ever since they've gone now to any pick and roll involved with Phillips, they're forcing him to the baseline, force that screener to step behind the three-point line out at the top of the circle.
10-2, the difference in turnovers. Detroit turning the ball over only 2 times in 24 minutes. None in the second quarter, and here goes Bowen to the basket, so now it's an 11-point game.
Now they're coming right at you, and when you have a team of this quality, you just talk to them and you say, hey, listen, just cut the thing down at the end of the third quarter by 8 to 10. Give us a chance with 6 minutes to go.
And then Rasheed Wallace is left alone. 53-40 Detroit.
Well, that area has been open all night long for Rasheed, and then McDyess, and McDyess comes into the game.
Now Parker on one of his patented drives, but still it's contested. He can't get off a clean shot.
3-on-2.
Phillips is the middleman, and Phillips is able to draw the foul and go to the line.
I like that. You might look at that and say, you know, that might have been a selfish move. That was not. Anytime that the two defenders do not prevent you from getting to the rim, take it and keep the ball. They must get in front of you and force a pass. Make the ball change direction from a defensive standpoint, from the offensive standpoint. If the alley is still there, take it strong to the basket.
Phillips perfect from the line, remains that way. Now 6 out of 6 from the free throw line, and a dozen points for last year's Finals MVP.
Now Hamilton has been rather quiet. Now Rip only has 4 points right now, 2 for 6. But Chauncey Billups is leading this club.
55-40 last in the third game the other night. Spurs held to 79 points, and right now they're on a pace in which they'd wind up with about that many again. Duncan fights his way through the lane. No whistle. Mohammed has it swatted.
Yeah, we could have had a few calls there. Okay, there was a lot of contact for both teams, and then fortunately for Detroit, you come out of it with a shot block. we're not seeing much of this. Fast break basketball, lay it up, 2-on-1, 3-on-2 for the Spurs.
Duncan, rebound over Rasheed Wallace. Look at the guys on the floor with Phillips and Wallace in double figures on a foul away from the play.
Coming into this game, this three-man referee group said that they are not going to allow screens on the baseline and then have the screener move and pick off the defender. They have been consistent since the opening tap.
That was a 3-second violation. No foul on that last play. The change of possession now. And it was actually a foul, and the foul was on Rip Hamilton, and that will be 3 on him. And here's a foul on Wallace now with Duncan going to the line. So after the third foul on Hamilton, you now have 3 on Rasheed. You have Duncan at the free throw line trying to cut the lead to 12 points.
The interior defense on Duncan has been excellent so far. He has been double teamed hard, getting deflections. But if you continue to allow Timmy to catch the ball deep in the hole, you're going to be in trouble. Now, very quietly now, he has 12 points and he has 10 rebounds.
Prince. Hamilton. Falling on him like glue. Shot clock at 2. Prince from downtown. Back comes San Antonio, and Hamilton got knocked down. Now he gets back. Goes right over to Bowen and creates the steal here as Tayshaun Prince comes away with it. And drives all the way.
Beautiful finish. Read the defense perfectly. Kept his dribble. Did not try to force anything.
Michelle talking about Popovich's overt disgust and the way he handled it at halftime, telling the guys, you go out and you do it, and Wallace with an emphatic block again. Hamilton drives. Here goes Prince for the jam, and it's 59-42, and Greg has seen enough for the moment. Greg Popovich, before the second game, said to us before the game, he said, I don't even want to look at Ben Wallace. I'm scared because Ben didn't have a good game 1.
That's right.
But there was nothing to be scared about in game 2 because Ben didn't have a good game 2. But Popovich knew that there was a monster lurking there. And in game 3, it was exactly what he feared, and he picks it up again here tonight.
Well, 3-time defensive player of the year, 4-time first team all defense, and he plays with his heart. He plays so much bigger than his size.
Nancy Hunter comes in for Detroit. Hamilton gets a rest. Duncan. Prince, he lost it. Duncan goes to the floor. Ball is still loose. Bowen now with a fresh clock. And inside it goes to Mohammed. With a ton of contact, he can't get it down. No foul. And then Ginobili steals it at the other end. Parker going in on Wallace with the reverse. Beautiful play.
Now we just had a scrum at one end.
Yeah.
A quick steal at the other, playing the passing lane as well as you can play it. And then a very nice finish as Parker challenges Rasheed Wallace. Took it right up into him.
A scrum with no foul. I mean, that scrum had nothing on Hagler Hearns. Rebound to Bowen. Parker circles underneath.
Plenty of time. Just don't force anything.
Shoveled to Mohammed. Underneath. And he gets fouled. No, they're going to call traveling.
Yeah, he took a jump step. Now right there. Now this is on two situations for them out of the last 3 possessions down the floor. They could have had 2 dunks. Instead, they end up with 0. Right now, Ori has just come back into the game for Muhammad.
Ori and Barry come back in for the traveling call. Otherwise, if they call a foul on Wallace in that situation, that would have been his 4th. He's playing with 3 right now with 6.5 to go. in the third quarter. Chauncey Billups.
That's a player not in a hurry, reading the defense perfectly, and then getting to the area for his high percentage shot.
Duncan through the lane,
good
knocked
strip.
away. You've got both Wallace guys there.
Yeah, Rasheed got that strip, and he took one in the chest, I think.
And they've got a 20-second timeout.
Yeah, it's a good call.
And someday, of course, Mr. Robinson will be in the Hall of Fame. 61-44 Detroit. 5.5 to go. A little bit more than that in the third quarter. Chauncey Billups way off, misses everything. They keep it alive. The shot clock keeps going, though. It's down to 3 in the corner. Hunter buries one.
In the first half, Lindsey Hunter and Antonio McDyess gave Detroit a terrific shot in the arm. Between them, they had 11 points. And I'm just happy for Hunter because he's off and running now. He's 3 for 3.
Parker. Tony held in check tonight. Tony Parker has only gotten off a total of 7 shots, and he has 6 points.
Biggest shock tonight has been how easy that Detroit has been able to run their half-court offense and get what they really want. Get high percentage shots.
And again, so Hunter, known for his defense, comes in and provides a spark on each possession. The shot clock goes almost all the way down. He's 8 points down in the game.
See, Parker cannot say, hey, I got to match him. Go one-on-one and try to match what Lindsey is doing at the other end. You've got to keep your guys involved in this game so that they'll play good defense so that you can make a run.
Hamilton missing. .19-point Detroit lead. Trying to square the series. 15 is Sunday. Barry for 3.
Well, they need that. They need a few of those to get going. Some solid stops here, but they need a run. They need like a 7-0, 8-0, 9-2, something like that, in order to give themselves some confidence so they can get it within striking distance once you start the fourth quarter.
Those were Barry's first points of the game. And then Hunter gets fouled. So Hunter is the guy on a run right now. That's 7 points in the last minute or so, and a chance for an 8th.
Well, this young guy, when he first came in the league out of Jackson State, he came in as a primetime scorer. He put a lot of numbers on the board as young and early in his career. He could score the ball. For whatever reason, this year, he has just struggled with his perimeter game, and you can see the low percentage. But it's nice to see him back because he's a great team player and he's a terrific defensive player who expends a ton of energy.
And then another Detroit steal.
There you go.
19-point lead. They have the ball again. Crowd savoring every moment. Hunter comes up short here.
2-on-1.
Ginobili to Devin Brown, and it won't go, but he'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, that was a tough foul. That was a hard foul. A bad angle. Chauncey Billups takes him down, but it could give it up. Get the ball out. Ginobili immediately look, thread the needle, make the defense change. Watch this. He just looks up. He catches Devin going hard to the basket.
Tayshaun Prince ready to come into the game. Brown at the line. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Tim Duncan is on the bench again, Al, and when I've observed him in the last couple of huddles, he has had his head in his hands. He has looked down. Greg Popovich has tried to talk to him. Popovich told me that Duncan's unique and that he's the first person to attack himself if he doesn't perform his best. Pop has said if Tim plays poorly in a game, he's not going to blame the play calling, a mistake by another player, or the officials. He's going to put it on himself. And Pop says Duncan is very mature in that sense, and there aren't a whole lot of people around that are like that. I'm wondering he could have gotten his way tonight.
Yeah, but wait a second. He's got 13 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocked shots, I know he's struggling. He's only 4 for 12. But the big thing right now is that when he comes back out on the floor, he's got to lead this team.
And he's frustrated because his team is down by 17 right now. And looking at a 2-2 series and looking at 3 more days before you play a game Sunday night.
Yeah, but sometimes you can take too much upon yourself. When you say the numbers that I just gave you, most guys in this game would be happy with those numbers right now.
Well, that's Tim Duncan in a nutshell. I mean, it looks like he's having a nothing game. And the next thing you do is you look down at the line and go, oh, okay.
That's right.
Antonio McDyess. Parker gets free, and that'll be a goaltend. Basket counts. 15-point game.
When you're coaching in games like this, you're Larry Brown. You're saying to yourself, oh, the clock, please, no timeouts. Let this clock keep on rolling. Because you know San Antonio is dangerous. They're dangerous right now. Because as good as you're playing, this game is not out of reach.
Hunter trying to put it out of reach. With a tray, make it 70-53. Hunter is 6 for 7 tonight. Let's go to Stewart.
Al, you talked about how poorly Lindsey Hunter had been shooting in the playoffs. I asked him earlier before the game, I said, yo, what's up with your shooting? He said, man, I came into this league as a scorer. I said, but your percentage is the worst one ever since the shot clock in the postseason. He said, I'm 34 years old. He said, I tell you what, if I slacked off on defense a little bit, I bet more of those shots would go down. I said, if you get a chance to have a big shot, are you going to hesitate? Even for a second, he said, I'm not hesitating. Didn't you hear what I said? I came into this league as a shooter, and I can still shoot. And apparently, he can. Al?
And we were sitting in Larry Brown's office earlier tonight, and that's exactly what he said. He said, one thing about Hunter, he has guts to put him up.
When you work as hard as he does to stay within the team defense, knowing that you have been a great scorer in your early years in this league, all right, and then as a college player, to just say, I am going to keep the ball moving offensively, only take what's a gimme for me, that's difficult to do.
And that's Ginobili scoring after Hamilton picks up his 4th foul. 70-55. Phillips guarded here by Brown. Works off a nice screen by Wallace, but Nesterovic picks him up. Shot clock is down to 6. And Arroyo goes all the way in, and then it's followed by McDyess.
Well, see, Duncan had to come over and help out on that drive. That allowed a guard to be on the other side as the offensive rebounder attacks.
Detroit by 17. Duncan with Wallace collecting the rebound.
They're in a nice rhythm, a nice flow. Everyone is looking. Oh, pretty.
Hook pass inside. McDyess in too far, but then it comes back out. McDyess. Antonio McDyess.
The big players, front court players for Detroit have really made some nice passes in this game. And no one more so than Ben Wallace. He has really come up here with 3 great passes.
Manu Ginobili from the lane. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Ginobili has 12 points. Detroit balanced scoring, led by Billups with 15. Big bend to the hoop.
They have an advantage here. Yeah, they were looking for the trailer all the way.
Udrich drives in, can't get the bounce. But an 8-second differential shot in game clock. Detroit, production from the bench. McDyess has done it all year. But Hunter's been the main guy off the bench tonight. Foul here was a foul to give, so there's no shot. Udrich with the foul.
Now Larry Brown orchestrated that entire thing. He told Arroyo, I want you to go, and he told him they have a foul to give. He told him that. So go early so that we would have more time left on the shot clock for the last possession. That was excellent coaching.
Excellent.
Gotta go.
Prince. Final shot of the quarter doesn't go. In the first 2 quarters tonight. Now the Pistons only won the third quarter by 2 points to stop that string, but it speaks to what Popovich is talking about. Detroit has been dominant.
Well, when you talk about them, we know that the shot blocking, the steals, and the forced turnovers are there. What's the difference? Games 1 and 2, they shot 38 and 40% in San Antonio. Game 3, 47%. Tonight they're at 47. Why? Because of the baskets on the fast break. The domination of the transition game.
And Rasheed Wallace here to put it back in and get fouled. And the Pistons have done it tonight with Hamilton only contributing 4 points.
How about this wrestle-off between Duncan and Rasheed Wallace? Duncan has Rasheed Wallace pinned. His one arm is pinned.
Rasheed Wallace with his miss here still has 12 points in the game. The Pistons have 6 players in double figures.
Off the bench, you have to give it to Lindsey Hunter and McDyess. They have 24 points off the bench and we still have a quarter to go.
And Devin Brown missing inside. Duncan is there. And it will be waved off, but there is a foul.
Pop right now is going to say something to Joe DeRosa. Yeah, he's looking for the three-point play. And just keep an eye on this now. As this shot goes up, look to the left of your screen. You're going to see the ball right here. Duncan gives the pump fake. All right, then you have the block, and then Duncan goes up and he... Oh, they're probably only getting a 2-shot foul.
The foul is on McDyess. And that's 4 fouls now on McDyess to go with 4 on Hamilton.
Well, you have a longer rope when you have your bench players pick up 4 fouls because you know their minutes are limited. This is kind of interesting, Al. Detroit is on top of their game, and they're doing this without Phillips and Hamilton having a great shooting night. Between them, they are 6 for 20 from the floor, which is 30%. But you brought out a great point. It's the other people who are in double figures. They're getting a well-rounded game tonight.
And when you get 6, that means somebody off the bench for sure. And they have 2 off the bench. McDyess here. So McDyess now with 13 points. Brown misses. San Antonio now, its largest deficit in any game they played in the finals. Covering 15 games now.
Yeah, Larry Brown just told him, slow down, set it up, run the play. Run what we want. Run time off the clock. No quick shots.
Prince.
Nice block.
Duncan was underneath. Ginobili. San Antonio cannot get anything to drop. And then Phillips leaves it from McDyess. Out of bounds it goes. It will still belong to Detroit with 15 on the clock.
Phillips, once he gets down on that baseline area, he reads the passing lanes extremely well. You know that the defense is concerned because he can finish, but he will give it up rather than force a bad shot.
And Wallace back in. And as Wallace sets the screen for Hamilton, you've got Bowen with the foul.
To be his third team second. Detroit basketball.
Spurs had a lead early tonight. They were up by as many as 4 points. And as Chauncey Billups knocks that one down and Mason gives it to Billups, it's 80-58. Last time San Antonio had the lead, it was 7-6.
San Antonio struggling. They're shooting in the high 30% range, and nothing is dropping. The good looks, even the drives to the basket, they just cannot put it down. The big factor is they cannot stop Detroit. Detroit just continues to carve them up with their quickness, coming off screens and getting right into the painted area or wide open jumpers.
And they're steals all night long, and there goes Hamilton.
Just beautiful.
When you first heard the possibility that Larry Brown was going to be your next president, your next GM, and he's over there, what'd you think?
Well, I don't want to get involved into it until I know for sure what's going on. Coach Brown is doing a great job with the Pistons and controlling this team, and he can only worry about this right now. So, we're going to see what happens after the season and go from there.
All right, one of only 5 guys to ever average 27, 7 and 7 for a season. Al?
All right, thank you, Stu. And, of course, just to follow up on that story, Mike Brown is the new coach. He was the Indiana assistant. And, again, the Larry story has been festering here for weeks. And, again, to condense it, Larry Brown will go to the Mayo Clinic when these playoffs are over. He had hip surgery this year. He had bladder surgery because that was a complication from the hip surgery. So he needs to be checked out. And the first thing he has to determine, or have determined for him, is health. And then the rest of it. He has a contract here to coach the Pistons for, I think, 3 or 4 more years, Juby. You've got the speculation about Cleveland and all of the rest, but at least that was a story that had been big and now has kind of died on the vine, at least for the time being.
Well, because he's been very emphatic. If he is declared healthy, he wants to coach the Detroit Pistons next year. So until he goes to the Mayo Clinic, gets checked out, well, that's the statement, and let's see what happens with time.
Exactly. And health is the paramount issue. There's no question. 22-point lead for Detroit. And a blocking foul here as Hunter drives to the basket.
When Stewart was talking to LeBron James, he threw out numbers: 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. And he said only 5 guys have done this in the history of the NBA. Michael Jordan did it once. Larry Bird did it once. John Havlicek did it twice. Oscar Robertson did it 6 times. And he's in that category already, and he's only 20 years old.
That's the amazing thing when you look at him and you watch him play.
That's right.
And you can't believe he's not of legal age to do what you can do when you're 21.
Oh, quick move.
Duncan. Detroit by 22, under 8 minutes to go now in the 4th game in an NBA Finals that started out as all San Antonio and now has been all Detroit over the last 48 hours.
You get in a situation like this at both ends of the court. You want your team to stay within what you do. Look for the fast break. It's not there. Run the offense. Yeah, let's work on our team game. Now, you want that. You want your guys not to get soft, not to commit turnovers. Just don't get sloppy. Let's work on our execution right now.
20-point lead after that basket by Parker. Pistons use the clock, partially blocked underneath, Duncan with it.
Yeah, Ori did a nice job coming across. Now, Rip Hamilton is having a tough night tonight.
And despite that, Detroit still up by 20. Ori.
From the get-go, Al, Detroit quicker defensively. Quicker to all the loose balls tonight. Quicker in the open floor. Yeah, you know, we know they've got the energy. They know that the building, the momentum, the run, it's just been a great exhibition. They put together another 48 minutes. Back-to-back games of playing their game.
Hamilton, that second effort underneath. And you can look at a lot of numbers in the game like this. One that really stands out, Detroit has 11 steals, make it 12, and San Antonio has 1. That was the 12th right there on cue.
Sluggish basketball, already 16 turnovers for San Antonio. The passing has been poor, off the dribble. Even guys in post-up situations have been stripped. So you give all that. When you're a defensive coach, you appreciate what Detroit is doing in Game 3 and then backing it up now in Game 4 because they have been relentless with their energy.
16 turnovers for San Antonio, only 4 for Detroit. The record in a finals game, the NBA record for fewest turnovers is 5. By 2 teams, the 91 Bulls, 2000 Lakers. (88-64).
In games 1 and 2, San Antonio's offense was just beautiful to watch. Their ball movement, their dribbling. They take it from one side of the floor to the lanes would open up. They would attack the basket. Shot a high percentage. Everything was kind of nice to watch. But now all of a sudden, here we're seeing hard-nosed defense. Excellent rotation by Detroit, forcing them to get bumped a lot, and they're not being able to complete to keep the beautiful flow going. Struggling with the flow.
And so this series on its way to the home team winning every game. 2 for San Antonio there, and again the 2-3-2 format in the NBA. So they stay here. The Spurs will be here through Sunday night, and we'll have Game 5. Ori drops one in from beyond the arc. Schedule right there. 8:30 Eastern time. We started off Sunday. If Detroit wins this game, that guarantees a Game 6 in San Antonio on Tuesday. And then the 7th game, if necessary, would be a week from tonight in San Antonio. Ben Wallace.
Oh, boy. Oh.
He has put his stamp on this one. There is Greg already, you know, with Duncan right now, and they know this one is gone. And they're looking at a couple of days off here, and then a very important 5th game, obviously, and thinking ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to back up what we talked about flow for San Antonio. Now, Duncan just put together in Game 3, 5 for 15, in Game 4 tonight, 5 for 17. Let's forget about that. In winning Game 1 and Game 2, the big 3, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker, scored a total of over 60-plus points in those 2 games. Now, last night, Game 3, 42 points. In Game 4, 38 points. So they can start right there with getting and looking at the big 3. They've either got to get better looks at the basket, they got to either shoot a better percentage, but it's a combination of just not, hey, we're not scoring.
Ben Wallace almost got another steal, and then Parker winds up scoring at the end of the possession to make it 90-69. Tony Massenberg, a long-time veteran in the game for San Antonio. Massenberg has been around so long, he played in San Antonio when Larry Brown was there in 1990. Hunter has been around almost as long as Massenberg. And Tony with the rebound.
I'd like to really zero in, give credit to the Detroit players who are matched up with Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. Once that series shifted here to Detroit, they have done a magnificent job of cutting off the driving lanes, double teaming these people, and then also rotating and taking away the easy baskets. Now, that is hard to do when you have a team that's steamrolling the way that San Antonio came into Game 3 and Game 4.
And Detroit is the steamroller, and San Antonio is the steamrollee.
That's right.
Here in Motown, or at least in suburban Motown. 4.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Tony Parker. Chauncey Billups. Billups, 17 points tonight. He hasn't been that effective from the field, but he's 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He has 7 assists.
Nice.
Hamilton to Rasheed Wallace.
When you're playing good defense, you're playing well, you're winning. That was just a great and unselfish move by Rip Hamilton, giving that up to Rasheed Wallace. Beautiful pass.
And then again for that one-handed grab. And a little razzle-dazzle by Billups, but Hamilton can't make the shot, and Bavetta calls the foul. So for Popovich now, and you, of course, you've been there and you know what it's like, obviously, to be in a situation where, you know, you're the dominant team. Now all of a sudden, you still have home court advantage, but you have to stay here 2 more days off. That's a long time in one place. So what about, you know, getting this team back in focus and ready for the 5th game?
Well, what you have to do, everyone has to be truthful about what our problems are, and then own up to your position, and then as one of 5 people who are out on the floor. You have to look at this and say, hey, this is the 3rd straight game that we're going to have over 17 or 18 turnovers, which are killing us in transition. We cannot, for the 3rd straight game, take care of our defensive rebounding. And then we've got to get our main 3 people higher percentage shots, and they've got to shoot a better percentage. Now you say, that sounds simple. Oh yeah? Well, these other guys have something to do with this Detroit Pistons team, because they are playing great defense.
You heard the crowd roar because Darko Milicic got up off the bench, the number 2 pick in the draft a couple of years ago, who has barely played. He's very young. Joe Dumars thinks he has a great future, but when Darko gets up off the bench, it's like Red Auerbach lighting the victory cigar. Either that or you're losing by 25 points. Detroit has led since early in the first quarter. And Ben Wallace, and now it's just showtime for Detroit.
I love what he has done here tonight. I mean, he has just been a man in all of the man categories with the rebounding, steals, and blocked shot. But that is his 3rd jump shot outside of 15 feet.
And another steal, and then Hunter. Woo! And only a couple of mysteries remain. Will they get 100? They probably will. Will they set the record for fewest turnovers in the game if they don't turn it over? They'll do that as well. They have 7 players, 7 in double figures. And how about this series, though? San Antonio, great in game 1,
right.
Great in game 2. Detroit comes, the fans all have their heads down after they're down 2-0. Right. Now all of a sudden, it's going to be 2-2, like that.
How about Lindsey Hunter and Antonio McDyess? 30 points, and they are 13 for 20 from the field. You talk about, you know, a superized injection and giving his team some life.
Will the Pistons get to 100? Benches have been cleared. Hunter off the glass. Nice pass. comes back out to Massenberg. Missing here. Brown tipping it, and then I tell you, he almost hog-tied. Arroyo had his arms around his neck, but no more damage done. Arroyo's playing on a sore ankle to begin with here. There's the schedule now. Game 5 Sunday. Guaranteed as Hunter comes out. Hunter gets that ovation. Tremendous night for him off the bench. And Detroit is guaranteed a trip back to San Antonio. So one way or another, the O'Brien Trophy will be handed out in San Antonio. Because we have to have a game 6, and then game 7 would be a week from tonight. To 71 Pistons. So big margins of victory in each of the games. San Antonio winning by 15 and by 21 in Texas, and Detroit by 17 and somewhere probably in the 20s tonight.
Well, when we go back to game 1, 10 minutes on the clock, it's 2 points, a 19-4 run. Game 2 with 7 minutes on the clock, it's an 8-point deficit, then a 16-3 run, all in favor of San Antonio. But when you get here to Detroit, here we are at 9 minutes to go. It's a 4-point game, as poorly as San Antonio was playing, and then next thing you know, boom, 21-6. And all 3 runs came down to turnovers, and then the inability and the frustration to shoot any kind of a percentage for the losing team.
A big roar, obviously, if Detroit can score here, because that would give them 100. And the San Antonio hadn't allowed 90 or more in a finals game until the other night. There you go. And it's Milicic of all guys.
Well, he's messy. Listen, the young fella has a lot of talent. Sure, he's got a lot to learn, but you have to remember, coming over here, you know, you have language, you have the fact that they're going to change your body with the weight program. Then you have never played against these type of athletes who are playing totally above the box. And that is at the top of the rim and another foot above. So he's never had this type of night in and night out competition. But the young man does have talent.
Yep, and there's your final Detroit basketball of the night. Every time Detroit creates a turnover, makes a great defensive play, and Mason will have laryngitis after tonight because of the way Detroit has played defensively.
That's right. And what's really great is Larry has been up talking to these guys to run a certain play with 32 seconds on the clock, and it was great.
Figures to be Detroit's final possession. Oh, boy. And they didn't want a 24-second violation because that would have been a turnover. And by not committing a turnover, among other things, they have set a record fewest turnovers in a finals game. 4. You just can't play a lot better than the Pistons did tonight.
When you consider 4, let me tell you, 4 is a quarter. A great half is 4 turnovers. It was beautiful to watch against supposedly our best defensive team in the NBA.
7 quarters in a row in which the Pistons have outscored San Antonio. Here's Stewart.
Thanks a lot, Al. Memo to the Detroit Pistons. You guys are a defensive basketball team. If I had told you before the series you scored 96 and then 102 and no overtime, what would you have said?
I mean, that's really not us, but, you know, we're going to take what they give us. And I always say when our defense is clicking, we get some easy transition baskets, and you never know how much we can score.
You guys got 7 guys in double figures. You force 18 turnovers. That's almost a perfect game. How do you not let down?
I mean, well, we know what it's all about right now. You know, it's for everything. It's all or nothing right now. Nobody remembers who came in second place. So, you know, you can't have a letdown. You got to come out aggressive every night.
17-point Chauncey Billups, nice game. Also at 17 points, Lindsey Hunter. You and I talked before the game. Coming in, you were the worst shooter ever in postseason history during the shot clock. The worst ever. How did you know you could come out and bust 7 of 9?
Well, you know, I came into this league a scorer, so that's nothing new to me. But, you know, I look to do other things. We got a lot of guys that can score. And, you know, tonight, Chauncey recognized that I had it going. And like I told you before the game, I still know how to put it in the hole a little bit.
Now, you told me that you wouldn't hesitate, but is there even a half a second of wondering, of doubt, when you are shooting so poorly?
No, because my dad always told me the only way you know the next one going in is to put it in the air. So I've always lived by that.
What a shooter's mentality. 17 points for Lindsey Hunter. Nice game, man.
All right, thanks.
Al, it's dead even, 2-2.